Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of our web design tutorial series. I am Michał from mdbootstrap.com, and in this video I will show you how to design a good looking and effective call to action section. Let's look at this example. I built this section using Bootstrap framework, and it is intended to encourage the user to try out a free MDB library. At first glance, it can be said that this UI is correct. We have a title here, a description, a bullet points, call to action buttons, and an iframe with YouTube video. However, something is wrong here. This project, to put it mildly, does not impress. The whole thing seems blunt and messy. The UI is tight and you don't know what to focus your eyes on. Now, let's look at what this example might look like after a redesign. It gives a completely different impression. It is light, legible and clean. But what exactly has changed here and how to achieve this effect? Without further ado, let's start coding, and together let's discover all the little tricks that make this design look so much better. For this tutorial, I will use Material Design for Bootstrap, which is a free library that greatly extends the capabilities of regular Bootstrap. To download it, go to mdbootstrap.com and click big blue Get Started button. Then click big red Download button and unzip the package. Now open it in your favorite code editor. I will use Visual Studio Code. Now simply open index.html in your browser and everything is ready to work. By the way, if you are using Visual Studio Code, you can install a very useful extension called Live Server, and thanks to this, your browser will be refreshed every time you change anything in your code. In the description of this video, you will find a link to the source code. So this is our starting point. Let's copy this. And now let's replace existing content with our call to action section. As you can see, it already looks a little bit different, and that's because MD Bootstrap overrides some Bootstrap styles, and thanks to this it makes Bootstrap projects look better. Perhaps you noticed that typography looks different and the buttons also looks different, and thanks to MDB we have this nice ripple effect which I really love. But it's only a beginning of our changes. We need to make this look like this. At the beginning, let's divide this main heading into two parts and give them a different colors. Thanks to this, it will gain some life and the whole thing will not blend into one. I will add BR tag here to break the line and wrap the second part within a span element. Now I can add class text primary to add the color to the second part, and now the heading has two colors. Now let's saturate the color of the description a bit. This is one of the main principles of design. Lower the visibility of secondary things so the most important elements can stand out better. In this case, the description is not the key, so we'll mute this by adding text muted to the paragraph. I will also add class margin Y4 to give it a bit more space. Now let's take care of this bullet list. Generally, bullets are not that bad idea, but we can do something better to add some life to our design. So instead of these gray bullets, let's add icons. Go to mdbootstrap.com. In a search box type icons, and here you can find a few hundred beautiful icons at your disposal. let's type check and let's copy this icon and let's paste it here. Alright, it works. To remove the bullets, you need to add list unstyled class to UL element. And now let's copy this check icon and let's paste it to each of the list item. And now let's add a primary color to each of the icons. So text primary, and let's copy this 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Now let's add a small margin on the right side of each of the icons so the icons can have a bit more space. To add the margin on the right of the given element in Bootstrap, we need to add a class ME and the number. E in Bootstrap stands for end, so if you want to add margin on the left, you need to add class MS and the number. And if you want to add margin on the right, use ME and the number. Now let's add this class to each of the icon. And we can also add some additional margin bottom to the list itself. Let's say margin bottom 5. And now the most important element of almost every call to action section, buttons. Important rule, try to always choose only one, the most important action you expect from the user, and then emphasize it more than all other elements. In this example, we have 2 buttons. And since both are filled with strong colors, both seem equally important. However, in this case, the Get Started button is the key, so we should lower the visibility of source code button. And we can do this by removing its background color and leaving only the outline. In MD Bootstrap, you can easily do this by adding button outline classes. So instead of this button warning, let's add button outline warning, and now the background color is gone and we have only outline. So now instead of this yellow color, let's use primary, so this makes our composition more consistent. Now no one will have any doubts which element is the most important here, because Get Started button stands out the most. The next element that we need to change is this iframe with a YouTube video. Whenever possible, we should avoid using iframes. They are very heavy and slow down the performance of the website. Additionally, they have many unnecessary elements like this avatar, title, or button. There is a much better way to add a video to our project. Instead of adding an iframe, I can add a previously prepared nice and consistent with my design image, which, when clicked, will open a new browser window and take the user directly to the YouTube video. As you can see, this graphic contains a characteristic play icon, which allows the user to know that when he clicks it, it will start the video. In order to implement it well, we'll need a component from MD Bootstrap. So go to mdbootstrap.com and in the search box type hover effects, and let's copy this basic example and replace iframe with the code we just copied. Thanks to this component, we have this nice hover effect and also a ripple effect when we click the image. So now let's replace this placeholder with our image, and now let's add a link to the YouTube video. And let's also add target blank attribute, so it will open the browser in a new window when we click the image. And now, as you can see, When I click on the picture, I will be transferred directly to the video on YouTube. And in the same time, I can easily come back to the previous page. We can play with this a little bit, and instead of this shadow 1 strong, we can add shadow, let's say 3. So the shadow will be a bit lighter, and instead of this rounded, let's add rounded 5. So the corners in this image will be more rounded. And when we are talking about rounded corners, we can also change these rectangle buttons to the rounded buttons, so our design will be more consistent. And we can easily do this by adding button rounded class. And the same here. Finally, we'll do something very cool. With help of pure CSS, we are going to add such a fancy shape to the background. It not only adds aesthetic value, but also, according to the principle, if something has a background, it is more important, we'll emphasize the importance of the left side of our section and direct attention to the call to action buttons. Go to mdbootstrap.com and in the search box type fancy border radius generator. And here we can find a very nice tool which allows you easily create this kind of shapes. So after creating the shape you like, you can simply copy the code and paste it into your project. Remember, you need to copy CSS and HTML as well. So let's copy first HTML. Let's paste it here. And now inside we can open a style tag. Let's paste this CSS code. Let's have a look how it looks like now. Well, not exactly how we wish, but it's easy to fix. We can simply add position absolute class to this fancy shape. And now, as you can see, it overlaps with our content. So the next thing we need to do is to lower the index of this shape. We can do this by adding z index property, and let's say we set it to -10. We definitely need to adjust it a bit. So let's change width to, let's say, 900 and height to 560. Alright, a bit better. And now let's add a negative margin, -120 pixels, and also margin top margin -20 pixels, maybe 30. Alright, now better. Now the color. Let's remove this gradient here, because we want it to have a solid color. We don't want it to be so flashy. And now let's go for a second to mdbootstrap.com. Let's type colors in the search box, and here we have a hexa code for our primary color. So we want to use this color because we want it to be consistent with other elements which are using primary color. So if we simply add primary color here, it won't be a good idea because our heading and other elements are not visible right now. So what we can do about this? The solution is very simple. We can add opacity. Let's say opacity 0.07. And now it looks very good. There is one bug that we need to fix. When you resize the browser to the mobile size, you will notice that our design is not responsive. there is a scroll on the x-axis. But we can easily fix this by moving our shape from this place to our row element. And when we place our shape inside the row element, you will see that the problem disappear. And now our call to action section is 100% responsive. The last thing I wanted to show you is how easily you can publish your projects to the internet. MD Bootstrap provides a free hosting service for your web projects, which is called MDB Go. So if you go to mdbgo.com, you can learn about this more. But now let me just show you how easily you can publish and host your projects. By the way, in the description of this video you will find a link to the detailed tutorial about how to install and use MDB Go hosting together with MDB CLI tool, which provides you many great additional features. Now to publish my project to the internet, I will launch my command line and I enter my desktop. Now I type a command mdb init and I will initialize a new MDB project, and I will use MDB 5.3 standard. As you can see, it downloaded the MDB package directly to my computer. So this is this folder, and I will enter this in my command line. Let me open this in my code editor. So now let's see how it looks in the browser. So the standard intro of MDB. So now let's move our project, our call to action section, to this new project initialized by an MDB CLI. Let's place it here. All right, and now let's publish it to the internet. And it will be very easy. I need to type command mdb publish. It asks me to change a different name because I've already used this name before. So let's say MDB tutorial call to action. And here I have my link where my project is available, and voila, it's available in the internet. That's it for this tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and you can also join our Facebook group and show off your projects. I would love to see them. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial. Keep coding.